You have probably walked into a Costco and left 2 hours later with a cart full of stuff you did not even plan on buying that day. A giant tub of mixed nuts, a rotisserie chicken, maybe a new television you saw on the way to the milk. Costco feels different from a regular store the moment you walk in, and there is a real reason for that. So, how does a store that sells everything so cheap actually manage to make any real money at all? We are going to walk through the whole thing from start to finish, using examples simple enough for a 5-year-old to follow along. Let's start with the simple problem most stores run into every single day. Imagine a regular grocery store buys a box of cereal for $2 and sells it to you for $4. That extra $2 covers the store's rent, the employees, the lights, and hopefully leaves a little bit of profit at the end of the month. Most stores need to charge a decent markup on almost everything just to survive. Costco looked at that whole setup and decided to do something completely different. Instead of marking products up a lot, Costco sells things at prices so close to what it paid that there is barely any profit built into the item itself. Now let's follow what actually happens when you want to shop there. Before you can buy anything at all, you need a membership card, and this is one of the most important parts of the entire system. Without that card, the doors basically will not open for you the same way they would at a normal store. You pay a yearly fee just for the right to walk in and shop, whether you spend $5 that visit or $500. There are different levels of membership too, with a basic option and a premium option that gives you a little cash back on your purchases each year. That card gets scanned at the door, checked again at checkout, and it is the one thing standing between you and every deal inside the building. Here is something a lot of people do not realize once they are inside. Costco does not carry nearly as many different products as a regular grocery store. A normal supermarket might stock tens of thousands of different items, but Costco usually sticks to a few thousand at most. Instead of offering 5 different brands of ketchup, Costco picks the one or two best deals and sells huge quantities of just those, and then rotates through the rest over time. Fewer choices means Costco can buy an enormous amount of each product at once, and buying in bulk lets Costco negotiate a much lower price from the companies that make the stuff, since those companies want the guaranteed order that comes with selling to Costco. That brings us to the first way Costco makes a little bit of money, which is selling the actual products sitting on its shelves. Costco buys items in massive bulk directly from manufacturers, stores them in giant warehouses, and sells them to members for barely more than what it originally paid. Think of a kid running a lemonade stand who only charges a few cents more than the lemons and sugar cost, just enough to keep the stand running week after week. Costco runs almost the exact same way, except the stand is the size of an airplane hangar and the customers number in the millions. Now here comes the biggest surprise most people never expect. Most people assume Costco makes its real money from selling televisions and giant packs of paper towels. It does not stop there. The truth is that Costco barely profits from selling most of its products at all. The real money comes from something else entirely: the membership fees themselves. Millions of people pay for a Costco card every single year, whether they shop there once a month or every single week. That fee gets collected no matter how much or how little a person actually buys, and it flows straight to Costco's bottom line almost completely as profit, since there is no product to buy, no truck to load, and no warehouse shelf to stock in order to collect it. In a lot of years, membership fees alone account for nearly all of Costco's actual profit, even though selling products brings in far more total revenue on paper. That single fact explains almost everything about how Costco chooses to run its stores. This turns out to be one of the smartest business decisions Costco ever made in its entire history. And here is exactly why it works so well. Selling physical products at almost no markup barely covers the cost of running the warehouse, the trucks, and the staff. Collecting a membership fee works completely differently, since once someone pays it, that money is pure profit with very little extra cost attached to it. Because of that, Costco is happy to sell things cheap, since low prices keep people renewing their membership year after year, and that renewal is where the real money sits. Costco also created its own store brand called Kirkland Signature, and this turned into a massive part of the business over time. Instead of only selling other companies' products, Costco started making deals to produce its own version of popular items, from batteries to olive oil to clothing to protein bars. Kirkland products usually cost less to make and sell than name brand versions, but they still carry a slightly better profit margin than most other items in the store, since Costco cuts out extra steps along the way and negotiates directly with the factories that actually make the goods. Many shoppers now trust the Kirkland name just as much as any famous brand on the shelf next to it, and in some categories, Kirkland has quietly become the best-selling option in the entire store. There is also the food court and the gas station, and both play a bigger role than people realize. The $1.50 hot dog and soda combo barely makes Costco any money at all, and it has stayed that exact same price for decades despite rising costs for everything around it. That deal is not really about profit. It is about getting people to keep coming back, since a cheap hot dog after a long shopping trip makes people feel good about the whole experience and reminds them why they keep renewing their card every year. Costco's gas stations work in a similar way, usually pricing fuel lower than nearby stations just to pull more cars into the parking lot, where those same drivers often walk inside and shop while they wait in line for a pump to open up. Now let's talk about how Costco actually keeps its prices so low in the first place. Warehouses are often simple concrete buildings with products still sitting on shipping pallets, which costs far less to build and stock than a polished store with fancy shelving and bright showroom lighting. Costco also buys in bulk directly from manufacturers, cutting out middlemen who would normally add their own markup along the way. Fewer product choices mean less time and money spent managing thousands of different items, and a leaner staff can run a massive warehouse because there is simply less complexity to manage. On top of that, Costco pays its workers relatively well and keeps turnover low, which sounds like it should raise costs, but experienced employees actually work faster and make fewer mistakes, which ends up saving money in the long run. On top of all that, something people call the treasure hunt effect keeps customers coming back again and again without them even realizing why. Costco constantly rotates limited batches of random items through its warehouses, things like designer clothes, jewelry, or electronics that show up one month and disappear the next, never to return in the exact same form. Shoppers never know exactly what they will find, so they keep returning just to see what is new, and that habit of visiting often leads to bigger baskets and more items in the cart each time, since almost nobody walks out of a Costco with just the one thing they came in for. Of course, running a company this size is not free, and the costs pile up fast behind the scenes. Costco spends enormous amounts of money building and maintaining warehouses across the country, paying its employees, who are famous for earning more than workers at many other retail chains and receiving solid benefits on top of that. It also runs a massive supply chain that keeps every location stocked, constantly negotiating deals with suppliers and managing the huge trucks and distribution centers that keep products moving nonstop from manufacturers to warehouse shelves without ever letting the shelves sit empty for long. So, what does all of this add up to? Costco is not just a giant store that happens to sell things cheap, even though that is exactly how most people picture it every time they push one of those oversized carts through the aisles hunting for the next great deal. It is really a membership business, wearing the disguise of a retail store. It sells products at barely any markup to keep customers happy and loyal. It collects steady membership fees that make up almost all of its actual profit. It built its own trusted brand in Kirkland Signature, and it uses cheap food and gas as a reason for people to keep walking through the door year after year. Every time someone renews their membership, grabs a Kirkland product off the shelf, fills up their tank at the pump, or picks up a hot dog on the way out the door, real money flows back to Costco in a slightly different way. All of those pieces work together quietly behind the scenes, and that is exactly why Costco became one of the most trusted and successful retail companies in the entire country.